How's it going, everyone? I'm your host, the Carolina Collector. Before I begin, I want to say thank you to each and every single one of you for helping to make this channel what it is. If you like what you see and you enjoy the content, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and of course comment in the comments section below. Also, I do have an eBay store called the Carolina Collector 001. I've been selling a lot of sports cards pretty successfully these days, so I really appreciate the support. If you're interested in any graded slabs or loose single cards, check out the link in the description box below. It really helps to support the channel. And thank you across the board to each and every single one of you. So I just want to put a little bit of a disclaimer out there, which I really don't like doing, but it's because of the subject matter I'm about to discuss that is very adult in nature, and you know, I have to speak the way I need to speak. So if you have small children around, you may want to, you know, sit with them and explain exactly what it is that I'm about to discuss, or you may not want them to watch this because, like I said, the subject matter is going to be quite adult in nature. So definitely have to get my caffeine on right here, sugar-free Red Bull, which I'm still very, very serious about keeping my sugar intake down. So cheers, everybody. Ah, that's good. Suffice it to say, I didn't sleep all night. I probably got about 3 hours of sleep at most. So, an incident took place at my local laundromat where I live. Unfortunately, this is a one-bedroom apartment, and I'm beginning to miss my washer and dryer where I used to live in North Charlotte. But there's a really, really nice laundromat right here in the neighborhood, and I go there quite often to wash my clothes. And, you know, because I was knocked on my ass and I was sick for like, what, two and a half weeks, something like that. You know, I had COVID, and then I guess I didn't give myself enough time to recover. I ended up getting sick again with some other random bug. But I had about that much time in laundry that I had to do. So I have two big plastic bins that were completely filled to the top with you know, clothes that I sweat out. And yesterday started off like a typical Monday would. It was gorgeous outside, like it is right now. It's beautiful out here, as a matter of fact. And yesterday went by without incident. You know, I made that video yesterday about the Aaron Judge reholder, the Bryce Harper card, and the two Paul Skeens cards. So after that, I did some random stuff, you know, in the apartment, and I was like, you know what, let me go do my wash. So I threw on my Yankees hat. Actually, this is the hat I was wearing yesterday, and I had my Anthony Volpe authentic home jersey. And, you know, it was a typical day at the laundromat. You know, I brought my little Cobalt Bluetooth radio, and, you know, I had some tunes on my phone that I typically listen to, you know, and the same girls were working at the laundromat, you know. So one of them I was joking around with, because the one girl that works there, she's like this tall. You know, she's about as tall as my bar stool right here, my outdoor stool. So I was joking around with her because she stood on top of something similar like I have here behind the camera. I mean, I use this as a footrest, but, you know, she was standing on top of one of these cleaning the wash machine that was next to mine, and I said, hey, you're taller than me now, and she started laughing, you know. So but anyway, yeah, it was going quite smooth, you know, and I sat in my car. I was listening to some music while my clothes were in the washer, and I believe it's, what, a 30-minute wash cycle or something like that. So a half hour passed by, and I go back inside to move my clothes to the dryer, and the Spanish woman approaches me wearing a black t-shirt that said Barbie in pink. motherfucker. And again, please forgive the language. You know, again, there's going to be very strong language in this video. I have to speak freely in order for me to convey what happened. So, motherfucker, you're giving everybody dirty looks. Who the fuck are you? You're a white supremacist. I'm like, excuse me? What the hell are you talking about? White supremacist? Where is this coming from? And then off to my 9 o'clock here, there's a black fella, which I have a picture of him right here. He's banging on the wash machine on the other side of the laundromat. I hate fucking white supremacists, damn honky cracker, this, that, and everything else. I mean, every racist thing that could be said about a white person, he's yelling and screaming. I'm like, who are you talking to now? Like, what the hell is this all about? And I'm looking at them, and everybody's looking at me. And the girl that was working, that I was joking around with, she's looking at me and looking at them, and I'm like confused. Like, what's happening here? So she goes on and on and on and on and on. And then he comes from behind the dryer and says something, and I said, dude, back off, man. You know, and I'm trying to make every effort to like diffuse this situation. So he started approaching and approaching and approaching. I had nowhere to go, and my back is literally up against the dryers. Now, full disclosure, I actually have it on me. I normally, these days, carry a pocket knife, more as like a utility knife. And these are perfectly legal. This is one of many Smith & Wesson knives that I have. It's a very, very nice utility knife. It's got the little nipple on there that you can break glass with. You have the twine cutter. And it's not spring-loaded or anything like that. You know, it folds into itself. It's not gravity or gravity-fed or... You know, in other words, you can't flick it out, and it's not going to, you know, spring out. It's not a gravity knife. It's not a switchblade. So this is perfectly legal to have here in North Carolina. And fortunately for me, I had it in my pocket, and I pulled it about halfway out of my pocket just to, like, you know, say, dude, like, you're encroaching too close to me, like, back off. Fucking whitey, this, that. So once I had it in my hand, I was prepared to defend myself. It's that simple. So he's like, oh, you're gonna fucking do that, huh? Fucking white man. Yeah, we're gonna see. Or something to that effect. So he goes back behind the machines and pulls out a big kitchen knife out of that white bag that you see in that photo right there. And the knife was bigger than this. This is just for an example. The knife he had was probably 2 or 3 inches longer than this. This is one of my kitchen knives. Why was this man walking around with a large kitchen knife? That is illegal to do here in North Carolina, and that's a serious, serious crime. So he pulls out the knife like that. He's like, yeah, motherfucker. And he's waving it in the air, and everybody just like went out both doors. There's 2 doors to the laundromat. There's a back door, and then you got the front door, the main entrance and exit. I thought he was going to pull out a gun. And I've never been put in a position like this before. My first instinct was get the fuck out of there. So, and again, I did nothing to antagonize this man. I did nothing to this woman. It just happened out of nowhere. And this is the rhetoric that the left have been publicly broadcasting, especially when it comes to Trump. And they tried to kill Trump now twice. Well, allegedly a third time. You know, there was a rally that he did where half the people on the stage that was behind him had some sort of chemical or aerosol sprayed on them, or somebody doused on them, and people were complaining about their eyes burning and their skin burning and their breathing all messed up. But, you know, the 2 confirmed assassination attempts, I mean, this country's lost its collective mind, and I'm not going to stop supporting who I support. I'm not going to stop believing in what I believe in. Men and women are a fact. I don't believe in certain ideologies and certain lifestyles. That's my right to do so. And nobody's going to frighten me or scare me or intimidate me into supporting things that I don't believe in. Here I am wearing a Gadsden flag t-shirt. I'm not going to change my clothing. If I want to wear a Harrison Butker jersey, I sure damn will. If I want to wear it's okay to be white hat, I will do that. But for these people to just come out of no place, and I'm essentially minding my business, except for talking to the staff that works there. It happened out of nowhere. It was so random. You fucking honky white supremacist, you know, you and your white privilege. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It happened so randomly. And again, like I said, he was banging on the wash machines, and then he comes behind and gets in my face and got too close to me. I couldn't believe it. So I'm screaming to everybody in the laundromat, somebody please call the police. I really believed in my heart that this man had a gun, but instead he pulled out a knife on me that was longer and bigger than this. And again, here's his photo. Because they came outside minutes after that happened, he must have either stashed the knife somewhere or threw it in the back of the laundromat or put it back in the bag. I have no idea. But I was able to capture at least 60 seconds worth of video to at least get their face on camera for myself. And thank God that the laundromat has security cameras, and that'll be relevant, you know, in this conversation as the video goes on. So basically now the argument is outside, and I'm like, this guy's going to pull this knife out on me, isn't he? You know, you have no idea. If you've ever been in a situation like this, this is the one time I regret that I didn't carry this. This is one of several less lethal weapons that I have. That's the Pepperball TCP. That's been modified with certain upgrades, a new barrel. Kurt from Grimberg helped me out a lot with stuff when I was doing less lethal content here on YouTube when I had my old channel. But, you know, I've got away from all that stuff because I want to talk about things I like baseball cards, jerseys, toys. You know, and there are little sprinkles of politics here and there throughout the channel, but, you know, it's just, I stopped carrying weapons like this because, you know, I have a new place, you know, I mean, I lived here years ago and I moved away from here and then came back to the property. And I promised my friends I wouldn't carry things like that anymore. But now we had a big thing here on my patio, which I'll discuss in a little bit, talking about that I really have no choice. I'm going to have to start carrying again. So, so now we're outside. I was able to capture at least 60 seconds worth of video because she's filming me and I'm filming her. And I'm like, this guy's going to pull this knife out on me. And somebody, well, I think the two of them called the cops because I was screaming inside. Somebody call the police, call the police, call the police. So out of no place, you can hear sirens coming in the background. So, you know, they ran back inside and went out the back door. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And I'm waving to the cops, like, come here. So the cops, there's like 12 of them. They pull out their sidearm and they're pointing it at me like this. Get on your car, get on your car, get on your car. Put your hands behind your back and blah, blah, blah. And handcuffed me. And I'm screaming. I'm the victim here. I'm the one who was screaming at people to call the police. Well, somebody called saying that you had a knife. I'm like, yeah, I do have a legal pocket knife to defend myself. Watch the security footage. That I know that they got cameras in that laundromat. This dude had a knife like this that he pulled out of a plastic bag. And thank God that, you know, this is hard for me to say because I'm very cynical and very untrusting of people. Which is why, like, you know, I run my business from home, you know, with the sports cards and stuff, because I don't trust the world outside my boundaries where I feel comfortable. As far as my personal safety is concerned, the world is too crazy. Even here in this nice, quiet neighborhood where I live, outside the boundaries of this place, I don't trust anyone. Especially now with politics being the way it is and how violent people have become, especially like what happened here on the property a couple weeks ago, where nearly the same thing happened. I was jumped by 3 guys who were claiming all sorts of nonsense and filed that BS police report against me. And I, the victim, got arrested and sat in jail for 2 days because of the incompetence of Pineville police. They've been in a lot of trouble lately. They had an incident with a shoplifter here at Food Lion not that long ago, and one of their officers got arrested for drunk driving and was put on administrative leave or something like that fairly recently, which I put in one of my shorts. But they've been the focus of a lot of negative attention these days. So I finally convinced the officers to go inside and look at the security footage, because they got cameras all over the place. And to everybody's credit in there, everybody stood up for me and spoke on my behalf. This man did nothing wrong. They just started screaming out of nowhere. And the woman that's there, I forget what her name is. I think her name is Anna. I'm not sure. I forget. Please forgive me if you happen to find this video. But, you know, she was telling me, like, you know, they come in there all the time and they're always yelling at people for, like, no reason. In other words, they probably got something loose up in their noggin. That they're probably, you know, emotionally unstable and stuff like that. So, you know, they were telling me, like, they have a habit of doing that when they go in there, but it's never got to this point. So they finally uncuffed me, and the one officer, because I told him, listen, I let him have it. I'm like, this is not the first incident where you guys arrested me or detained me. I had to go to court to have 2 misdemeanor charges dismissed because of your incompetence from your police station there, because you guys are quick to arrest the victim. And they try to give me a whole song and dance. Well, we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I really don't want to hear that. And it's really put a stain on my love for the police. I've actually learned to really dislike the cops these days. I'm not saying I'm swinging left. What I'm saying is that a lot of these cops are very quick to act. I mean, literally, the dude, they all had their guns drawn on me when they should have went after the guy that pulled a knife out on me, who was trying to come after me. And in self-defense, thank God I was able to at least have something on me. But compared to what that guy had, so they saw the security footage and they saw the police officers. They saw that these 2 people were the aggressors and that I was the victim. And the one officer, to his credit, apologized profusely. You know, I'm sorry that this has been happening to you. It's just the world we live in. I'm like, you really don't get it. Like, this is how it is towards people like myself who are God-fearing, you know, American-loving, traditionalist conservatives. And these people were looking to start trouble. And the security footage clearly showed that. So thank God I had this. I said, you know what? I actually have a small video that I shot. And I just want to show you guys again what this man looks like. Because another African-American fellow who was so nice and so sweet himself saw the 2 of them go into one of the restaurants that's right around the corner over here, or at least went around it or something like that. I couldn't catch most of the conversation because I was still talking to the officer inside. So when I stepped outside and I heard the fella say, yeah, they just went that way, because they clearly darted out the back door to avoid getting caught. And one of the officers turned and said, is he describing the man that pulled a knife on you? I said, yes, sir, that's definitely him. So, and that man was such a help. And then, you know, again, the cops, you know, the one officer apologized to me and said, I'm sorry that we had to do that, but just for your own sake, you know, you did the right thing. And, you know, you chose not to take it to that next level that you left. And we see that on the footage, that you walked out. You made an effort to, you know, he backed you up and then you went outside and did the right thing, and you didn't do anything stupid. Because like I said, this is all I had on me. But clearly he was the aggressor. And this is what leftist ideology has turned people into violent psychopaths. We see it in my former home of New York City. I see even now the corruption that's going on with the city and state government. Now I see Eric Adams is in trouble. You see it in Baltimore. You see it in Washington State. You see it in Portland, Oregon. You see it everywhere in these leftist cities, especially in Chicago. That this leftist rhetoric is causing people to literally lose their minds with this existential threat nonsense. Meanwhile, they are the ones trying to kill Trump. They are the ones lighting cities on fire. Remember the Summer of Love with the whole George Floyd thing? It's okay for them to do that, but if you stand up for yourself, Kyle Rittenhouse is the best example. You really think we're going to forget what happened with that young kid? No, never. Never forget. Like people in New York were telling me because of their blatant jealousy of people that I thought were my friends and brothers, let it go, let it go. Thank God I never let it go. And it was for good reason, because who's out there in the streets right now? People wearing turbans or, whatever those things are. Radicalized young Muslims are taken to the streets every single day, all across the country and across, other countries, on this little blue ball that we live on. But the people like me are the bad guy. You don't see me out there throwing garbage cans through police cruisers or assaulting elderly people or stealing Biden signs off of people's property or ripping Biden hats off of people's heads. Or physically assaulting gay people or anything like that. It's them that are doing that to us. That's a fact. And of course the media are the puppets of the left. And they all try to control the narrative until someone like me is able to present facts and truth, and you find out that it's actually them, not us. And I did zero to instigate this incident that took place yesterday. So, and then, after the police left, a lot of people from the other businesses that were surrounding, that or next door to the laundromat there all walked up to me. Hey, are you all right? I'm like, because I suffer with 9/11 post-traumatic stress disorder, man. And that just kind of like, I was having like a panic attack. And everybody there was on my side. I mean, people were giving me hugs and handshakes and like patting me on the back, like you handled that well. Like, thank God you didn't do anything dumb, because they were the ones that were coming after you. And I would have been put in a position that if I would have made another choice, and thank God I was able to compose myself, I would probably be sitting in jail, because I would have had no choice but to use this. But the security camera footage saved me. The manager actually showed up because I went next door to have a couple beers. I needed to calm down, and everybody in there were talking to me and asking me if I was all right. Like the people that saw everything that was going on outside of the laundromat, who walked up to me and said, "Hey, I hope you're okay." They were so kind and so sweet and so nice to me. And when I went back to go pick up my clothes from the dryer, the manager showed up to the laundromat, and she was talking to me with her husband, telling me that they go in there all the time to start fights with people, that they clearly have psychological issues, and they were giving me big hugs and everything. And the girl that was working there, I gave her a big hug. She gave me a big hug. She, like I said, she's a little thing like this, and she looked up at me and gave her a big hug, saying thank you, for telling the cops the truth, that these people were the ones that started with me. And I was so taken by their kindness and their gentle hearts. It did put a little bit of faith back in my heart, because, I am a very cynical individual, and it's very hard for me to trust people, especially after everything that I've been through in my life. It's very difficult for me to trust. So I bought them a case of Corona, as a thank you for helping me and standing up for me. Not many strangers have ever stood up for me. This was very touching. But once I got home, my buddy, one of my good buddies, was already on my patio, because I told him that this incident happened. Then my other friend here next door came home from work, and he came over here and sat down, and I started pounding down beers, and we were all talking about like what happened and stuff like that. And man, I got pretty shit faced, to say the least, because this was very shocking. It was very shocking, and this is as close to the chest as it gets, because let me tell you, he could have pulled out a gun. But like I said, he took that knife out and he's waving it around up in the air like this, threatening me. People like this have been brainwashed by people like Kamala Harris and all of these leftists to believe that somehow white people are enslaving black people. Now, I live in the deep south, and the last time I looked in a grass field, I didn't see any black people with bales of cotton, with ankle chains. We don't have slaves. It was Abraham Lincoln and the Republican Party that freed the slaves. It was the Union Army that marched down into Galveston, Texas to free the remaining slaves post-Civil War. Robert Gould Shaw led an all-black regiment into Fort Wagner during that time. Frederick Douglass headed up the Underground Railroad. But you can't tell them that, because Orange Man bad. Facts matter. History matters. And like we say in the 9/11 family, and notice I didn't say the C word, never forget. And thank God I retained that knowledge from school. But it's created people like this. Violent, unhinged, brainwashed psychopaths who think they're free to do whatever they want without rules and without even now as I'm talking about it, you have to forgive me. It's a very, very emotional experience to know that I could have been killed yesterday by that man. All because of nothing. And I mean literally nothing. Like, I was minding my own business. Like, unless there's like a conversation, like if they got TVs in there, right? So like if there's a game on or something, or, I like somebody's sneakers, or they like my t-shirt or one of my jerseys or something like that. Because there was an older fella that was in there, and I saw he was wearing a Cincinnati Reds hat, and I'm all decked out in my Yankee stuff, so we were having a conversation about baseball. But I don't know where these two got off saying that, oh, you're giving everybody fucking dirty looks, you honky white supremacist, you're a KKK Nazi, blah, blah, blah. I come from German roots. My grandfather proudly served the U.S. Army in World War II. And that word Nazi gets thrown around like it's like a baseball getting tossed back and forth on a baseball field. I am certainly no Nazi. My kids are half Spanish. And if I were a racist, I wouldn't even have had kids with a Hispanic woman. Most of my friends here are Hispanic. I grew up around Hispanic people. Like, it's freaking ridiculous. But it's the rhetoric of these leftist politicians that are causing people to lose their minds. It's okay for a mob to go after Kyle Rittenhouse for cleaning graffiti and trying to defend a business. But it's not okay for Kyle Rittenhouse to defend himself when he's attacked by said mob. Just kill him. Thank God he was acquitted. And this is the world we live in now. And this is not my first rodeo dealing with things like this. And it's only going to get worse. I never thought here in North Carolina, when I left New York, I left behind shit people, shit politics, shit rent. You can't afford to live there. I mean, what's a 12-pack of eggs these days? $8? Something like that. Everything's behind glass walls or plastic doors now. And now we're starting to see it down here. I've been down here, 7.5 years now, something like that? And it's starting to find its way down here now. And it's frightening. And it's only going to get worse. At least I hope it doesn't get worse. But now, unfortunately, it's going to force me to start carrying something like this on my person because I don't feel safe. Especially when I go outside. It's happened multiple times to me. When I lived up in North Charlotte, you had 4 black women in a car. And at that time, for Trump's second run for president, or when he had his last campaign, I had a Trump sign outside, and these women took it upon themselves to throw what could have been a bottle of urine, acid, or some sort of chemical. Very similar to, I mean, I have a small, Walmart just dropped this off the other day. I haven't brought it inside, but this is the only bottled water I drink. If it's not this, it's water from Sam's Club. And they called the cops on me because I drew one of my less lethals on them because they essentially committed assault against me. And I had every right to pull out my weapon. So the cops came out and came to my door. I said, come on in. I have nothing to hide. Take a look outside on my patio. What do you see? A Trump sign. Look inside my refrigerator. So one of the officers opened up the fridge. What am I looking for? Well, you see great value water all on my shelves there. That's all. That's the only bottled water I drink. Now look inside my kitchen sink. What do you see? It was a bottle of Nestle water. That's what they threw at me. That could have been bodily fluid. That could have been urine. It could have been gasoline. Maybe they were trying to light me on fire. I don't know. What would you think if somebody threw something like that at you? You would think the worst. After 9/11, believe me, I believe people are capable of all sorts of crazy shit. And you cannot take people for granted. And he's like, well, they didn't tell us that. Do you want to press charges? I said, no, because I'm not natured like them. Let God deal with them. It'll come back to them one day. I firmly believe in karma. So, and then like what happened here recently where I had to have these charges dropped against me because I was not the aggressor. These men, first off, didn't even belong on this property. And second off, I tried to defuse the situation and I was able to produce the receipt from the restaurant where I bought these people food, which they gladly ate, but they still decided to jump me. Why? Because they got insulted by the jersey I was wearing, my Harrison Butker jersey. They didn't like the music I was playing and they were trying to drown us out because I was sitting there with my fellow neighbors. We were eating and drinking and everything else. So it's like, it's fucking crazy, man. That the victim is the one that gets into trouble. And it's like, it's not fair. Again, it's backwards leftist bullshit. It's bizarre world. But in November, I have to go back because I got to get my record expunged, so that this way the charges don't reflect on my record. And thank God for the people at that laundromat and the security cameras and everything, because they probably would have arrested me again for something that someone else did. This guy and people like him are a symptom of leftist ideology. Take a good look at him. That's not me being racist. This is a symptom of the system and what it's taught people to do by any means necessary. Even Kamala Harris has been spewing that rhetoric. This is leftism at its worst. And it's only going to get more and more violent as time goes on. Especially November is right around the corner, folks. I'm deeply concerned about what's going to happen if Trump wins. And I hope he does. Because I hope he goes after everyone that prosecuted him. I hope he goes after Antifa and BLM. I hope he shuts down these college professors that are teaching these young people to go out there. You know, radical Islamic Palestinian supporters of Hamas in New York City. Have you seen what the colleges are doing now up in New York City? They're putting security barriers around the entrances of these universities up there. They have no choice. Why? Because now that school started, what do you think they're going to do? Their private little socialist club is going to go out and take to the streets like they've been doing almost every single weekend up there. And across the rest of this country and across the planet, as a matter of fact, in a lot of places. Like the people in Ireland are sick of it. The people in England are sick of it. The people in Germany are sick of it. I'm telling you, it's going to get this little blue ball we live on. It's going to go pow one of these days if it continues. And it's going to be because people like this who have allowed themselves to be brainwashed. Now, I'm sympathetic to people who have had hard times and bad luck in their life. But you have the excuse me. You have the power to change that. I fought long and hard in the courts to get what I have, and I'm very fortunate to have what I have. And that's why I started my little sports card gig. You know, and I talked about giving away big boxes of cards to the kids that live here and stuff like that, and try to give back. You know what I mean? Because I know what it is to go through hard times, man. Believe me, you don't want to live in your car for a year like I did. But I fought long and hard. I fought against the court system to get what I have. And I feel sorry for people that have had bad times in their life, but you don't take that out on other people. But all in all, just to wrap all of this up, be careful out there, folks, because the way things are going right now, and again, this is not my first rodeo dealing with something like this. This is as bad as it's ever been, as far as someone threatening me with a weapon. And to my local laundromat, I'm so grateful for everybody that was in there that witnessed it and stood up for me. And the businesses that are around there, who asked if I was okay. Like I said, I sat down and had a couple beers next door just to kind of like calm down because I was still like this. But the people at the laundromat, the owner, the manager, the girl that was working there yesterday, I mean, everybody was just so sweet and so nice. It was very, very touching. I'm not used to strangers standing up for me. Usually I'm left to fend for myself with a lot of stuff, but I'm eternally grateful to strangers defending me. And thank God for the security cameras, by the way. But there are people like this walking amongst us who are unhinged, who are convinced that somehow white people are enslaving black people, which is stupid. The only ones who are enslaving each other are people that are in a bondage in S&M. You know what I mean? But there are people like him walking around amongst us all day, every day. And they're becoming more and more emboldened to behave like the way this man did. Imagine if I did that. I walked around like, if I were to have, I actually got two of these right here. I keep one on the patio in case the mail comes, so I can open up packages. Imagine I'm walking around with two of these. Here, you can even see the tape from the latest batch of patches or packages, I should say, excuse me, right there. So that's all tape and stuff. But, try to imagine me waving knives around in the public like that. What do you think is going to happen? I'm sure the cops will lock me up in a split second. But this is what our society has produced. That people are actually convinced that they are somehow inferior, or that they are slaves, or someone will enslave them, which is nonsense. So this one is going to take me a while to absorb and get over, because it's still fresh in my brain. I know today's a new day. I got my eBay stuff I got to do. I'll do a full relist sometime later as far as the cards are concerned. I haven't even folded up my clothes from yesterday. They're still sitting in my living room in their laundry baskets because I'm still processing everything. But I'm grateful that I had friends come over here yesterday to keep me company, because I was not in a good state of mind. It was awful. It was frightening. It was awful. And I could have been killed. There's no other way to say it. And thank God, thank the Lord, no matter what God you believe in. I mean, I know I'm wearing the Mjolnir, which is a representative of, Odin. But thank God I was given enough common sense to analyze the situation and just not make that one wrong move. Because if I would have taken this thing completely out of my pocket and deployed this thing and was forced to use it, guess who would be the aggressor? Me. And thank God I had enough sense to get the hell out of there. So be careful out there, folks. This is a very trying time. in our nation's history. Don't let yourself be a victim. I'm not saying that you shouldn't stand up for yourself, but be smart, because that's what people like this want. They want you to make a wrong move. And this man, like I said, he got too close to me to the point where I would have had to made a choice. And thank God I made the right one, and that was to leave. Because I told the officer that, and he agreed. If I would have gone to the next level, I guarantee we wouldn't be having this little chat right now. Thank God, you know, that I got brains, you know. So that's where I'm at right now. So, but anyway, I got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to review sooner than later. I'm going to do a full relist of my eBay store, put some more cards up there. I'm going to list those 2 Paul Skeens cards that I talked about the other day, or yesterday I should say, excuse me, and just get back to normal. Try to get back into the routine again. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video and supporting me and supporting the channel. And just don't let yourself become victim to people like this. I know that there are people that are going through hard times. Again, I appreciate what it is not to have things and not to have money in my pocket or whatever, but that's no excuse to literally go around threatening people with things like this. Motherfucker! You should have. I wish I would have had that on video. But you know, thank God the manager and the owner of that laundromat actually has it all on camera, and that's what saved me. So, and I know I've got haters out there that want to see me fall. I'm not going anywhere. Thank you so much, everyone. More videos to come. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm your host, the Carolina Collector. I hope I never have to make another video like this again. And just be careful out there, everyone. There are a lot of sick people out there. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you soon.